database relationships. We talked about database relationships, and we made mention that there are basically three kinds of relationships when it comes to Django. I want to say that we have many to one relationship, we have one to one relationship, and we have many to many relationship. Let me okay, let me know if there was any problem in that class or anything that we find difficult to understand. Um, you guys let me know so we can see how we can help each other. Okay. Problem, then go ahead and raise your hand and ask it to unmute and then ask your question. Right. Okay, someone is having issue pushing his code to GitHub. Okay, you address that issue again, probably ending of the class. Okay, just go to the end of the class and we address this GitHub issue. Okay, because I think our tax will come up soon. Okay, so that's I don't expect anyone to have the issue of GitHub again. So we'll address that problem at the end of the class. Is there any other problem? Oh, next task will not therapy. Next task will definitely not therapy. All right. So okay. So apart from those problems, is there any other problem? So I believe there was no other problem again in that topic. All right. So quick exercise. Let's see how we can solve this. Okay. So it's very simple. So it's simple. All right. So let's assume that.
Hello, sir.
Yeah. Question.
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir.
Please, I'm just most of us that are like we are still pending in stage 5. Now we have submitted
Okay.
our task.
Okay, all right. So, okay, probably I'll put up a list of names of those that are having, because I think some people are still having little issues in their tax. So, but probably yes, you guys might actually be among those lists. So, I think I'll drop this list on Slack.
I don't think I'm among.
Okay, all right. If you're not among, okay, if you think that you're not among, okay, then be patient and then promotion will get to you. Okay. So, just
You drop any names in Slack?
No, I will. Probably after this class. I will. I'll drop this establishment. Okay. So we know where we are. Sorry for that. Really sorry for that. All right. So very quick exercise, very quick and brief exercise. All right. So let's assume let's go ahead and let's assume. All right. So let's assume that we are a developer, okay, and we have a work or we got employed in some company and stuff like that, okay, and all right, so all these are list of tables, right? They are list of tables, right? So and you have to relate this table with one another, right? We are like this table must share in some kind of relationship, either a one-to-one relationship or a foreign key relationship or a many-to-many relationship, okay? So you can just so once I want to pick any role, it will be this role, any role at all, any role you feel comfortable with, and then you let us know what kind of relationship would you as a developer, okay, and should I say give to these two tables, right? Or this table, any table at any role you pick, right? What kind of relationship, if you were to actually implement this in actual coding, what kind of relationship will you give it, and why would you give it such relationship? Okay, anybody. So you can pick anyone. Not it should not necessarily that you answer all. Pick anyone of your choice.
Okay. The last one, people to passports.
People to passports
is 1-to-1.
1-to-1.
Because,
okay, so
each person is passport is a unique identification of identity. So each person has his own. Then for farmer and equipment, Formal equipment is a farmer can have many equipments, so it's many to one.
Many to one. Okay.
Yeah. Then employees and tax. Employees and tax is many to many.
Employer and tax is many to
Because
many.
uh, employees and tax is many to one. Sorry,
Many to
many to
one.
one.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay. Any other question?
then doctors and patients is many to many.
Many to many. Okay.
Mm. Books and author is many to many. A book
Many
can
to
have
many.
many authors. It's many
Okay.
to many. Then albums and songs is many to many.
Many to many. Okay.
Album and song is many to many. Album and song is many to one.
Many to one. Okay.
One album can have many songs. Okay, country and flag is 1 to 1.
Okay.
Owners and pets is this X you are putting is confusing us, confusing me. I don't know if this X is really confusing me. I don't know this is why you put X. Some of them you don't put X in other ones. Owners and pets. One owner can have many pets now, so it's many to one. It's many to one. Then people and address is people and address. One person can have, I have to type two addresses. I have my parents' phone and my personal house. So I think it's many to one as well.
Many to one.
Customer products, many to one.
Okay, to one.
That's my own suggestions.
All right. Is there any other person that has something different from this? You could just raise your hand and ask it to unmute. Any other suggestion, contribution? All right. So someone has suggested in the chat that product customer is many to many. So we have something of that. Many to many. All right. Any other suggestion? Anything different from what is here? Okay. All right. So right, it's all correct because the way this thing works is dependent on developer. Okay. Right. It's what the developer choose or decide to use. Okay. It fits that developer's opinion, but in a general sense, okay, because there are most of these things that can have more than one relationship, right? So let's say if you look at this employee and tax, right, an employee can be many to one. Yes, it's very correct because um one tax can be worked by many employee, right? And at the same time, this and also this at the same time, employee and tax can be many to many. And because multiple employee can work on one task and one task can be worked by many employee. All right. So you look at the same kind of like two kind of relationship there. So it's kind of developer's choice, right? So here could also be many to many. Okay. So another thing again I can say is books and author, right? So yes, in general sense, an author can write many books, and many books can contain many authors, right? And that's many to many. And same time, an author can just write. An author can only, or at the same time, one author can only produce one book, but that author might not decide or might not want to participate in other books, just his own books and his own books alone. So here can also serve as a many to one as well, books and author. But many to many really fits. Really would really fit. Okay, but the many to one too can also fit depending on the task at hand. So you can have many to one there, many to one there. All right. So all right. So let's look at this customer and product. Customer and products. So we said that okay, so someone suggested many to one, and another person suggested many to many. Okay, so which one carries the vote, right? Okay, so let's see. Okay, so in this kind of table can be used in an e-commerce site, okay, in an e-commerce site. And to me, okay, I will because I'm not criticizing anybody, right? So to me, I feel that this many to many will actually save more better. In fact, I don't really picture many to one coming in here in the sense that a customer can purchase as many products, and a product can be purchased by many customers. So I think many to one, many to many really fits this scenario. Really fit this scenario. But all the same, okay, if you use this and it doesn't actually save your actual purpose, then you can change it to many to many. But in this scenario, I would go for many to many. I'll go for many to many. All right, so that's really good. So it actually shows that we actually understand how these things work. All right, so that's believe me, I am impressed. To be honest, I am really impressed. Okay, so without wasting time, okay, we move into today's topic: user registration with Django. Okay, so now so far we've been registering new users from where? From the admin page. So we just go there and we click on add user and then we add new user. Okay. So let's say a user wants to come to our site and register, right? Let's say our site requires you to actually register in order to use some certain features of our site, right? So how do we actually implement that in Django? So that's what we're going to actually talk about in today's class. So I want to say that you cannot really hear me. So please let me know if I'm loud, if I'm loud enough, please. Okay, so as to make sure that everyone is following. Okay, so I think when we started Django, I said that Django is kind of, let's say, out of the box, right? It comes with so many functionality. Okay, so the good thing is that Django comes with its own user registration form. You have to import it and then you use it. Easy peasy. As easy as that. Then at times we might not actually want to. At times we might not actually want to. We might not actually want to use the Django registration form, and because to be honest with you, that form is not that beautiful as it is. Okay, but for starting, at least doing something quick and fast, it serves that purpose, right? But the form is not as wonderful as it should be, unlike our block registration form. Okay, it's not that wonderful. All right, but nevertheless, it still serves the purpose of registering users. Okay, so we're going to see how you can actually implement that in Django. Okay, and it will be really easy. Okay, so I'll try to make it as easy as possible. Okay, so our quick reminder still remain the same. Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. Right? We already know this. Okay, so you know that you should save your class link on your device for emergency purposes. Okay, just in case this link, because I think by now, I believe that by now we already have this link because it's been a while. This link haven't been posted on Slack. So but we still join the class. So I believe that we have this link somewhere on our devices, and I also believe that we have our profile pictures and our current stage icon. Okay, so that just in case you run into trouble, we know how we can at least help you out, and we know where to search. Okay, we know which table where to search. Okay, so you have to put your current stage icon so we know, and then your track, and also as usual, one learner to one track. Okay, don't come here and do many to many relationship, please. Don't even do many to one, please. It's one to one relationship here.
The one to one, so you never said that.
It is one to one relationship here, okay? One learner to one track. Okay, don't do many to many there or many to one. And then promotion mark has been increased to 75. Okay, we already know that. All right, so we move straight to our usual. We open our command prompt and we navigate to our project folder. We activate our environment and we put our server up and running, and then we open our project folder in VS Code. Okay, that three steps is always certain that we must do it. Navigate to our project folder, activate our environment, put on our server, and then open our project file in VS Code. So we do that real quick. And by now we are used to the commands. Okay? We, we are used to this command, but we keep doing it in all our classes. As far as Django is concerned, we keep doing it till our block is online. Then we stop doing it. But for during the development, and each time we get tired of developing, and each time we come back, we must do it. Okay, so quickly cd into document. Cd into document, and we have it in our KodeCamp project. KodeCamp project. Okay, so that was how I spelled that folder. Okay, and then that we have our environment. So we activate our environment first, venv, big name of our environment /script /activate. Well, today I won't put the d.bat. Okay, and then we move into our project folder, which is my site. Then we put on our server python manage.py run server. Okay. Okay, I think they will have a spelling error there. Python manage.py run server. All right, server is not spelled correctly. But server it should be PEY. RVE. Right, so that's it. Server.
Please, I have a question.
Okay, question.
Oh, this thing we are using, what's it called? The command prompt to do. Can we use git bash also to do it?
Yes, I believe we should. So
okay.
Yes, I think that should work. That's what just make sure that in the correct directory.
Exactly.
It should work.
Okay.
All right, so our server is up and running. Next thing you want to do is our project. So it's here in KodeCamp project and this one. So I have to open it in VS Code. All right, so people that don't have this, which I don't know why it's not showing in your own system. Honestly, I don't know why. You can just open your VS Code and open folder. Okay, open folder. All right, so in our last class, this is where we left off, and we used this for demonstration. So I said that we won't be using this table. Okay, that's because we already have the user table. If I head over to our admin page, okay, /admin, we'll head over to our admin page. Okay, it's gonna lock me out. So we have this table, right? So this is the table we'll be using, all right? This is the table we'll be using, okay? There's no need of this table, okay? So this will be like a double work, all right? So we stick to that users table, okay? And that's what we will use to register. And when we register a user, that's where it will get saved, okay? So I'll go ahead and delete this. This was for demonstration purposes, right? Well, if we need this, we'll still keep it, right? If we need it, we'll still keep it. Okay, so I'll leave our blog post. I'll leave this blog post here, right? I'll leave this blog post here. I'll leave that blog post there because we need that post. Like we actually need this post. Okay, I think, or probably I could even create a new app called blog and put this table there. Okay, and just leave the home to be on its on his or her own. Okay, the home will actually be getting the newsletters. I think that will make sense. That was more good. Right. So real quick, okay, real quick. I'll go ahead and delete all this for now. Right. I'll go ahead and delete all this for now. When we need them, we create them back. When we need them, we create them back. Okay. All right, so this should give us an error because we have this here. So since we don't have this anymore, we go ahead and delete it and delete it. When we need them, we'll create it again, okay? For now, we don't need them at the moment. What's happening there? Let's see. All right. Here, so the user registration we are going to do it in the account app, right? Because we want the account to take care of users registration, sign in and sign out. Probably any other thing relating to, excuse me, any other thing relating to accounts, right, should happen in the account app. All right. Okay, so let's see, let's go ahead and open our block and let's see what is happening. Let's see what is happening in the front end. All right, so we have home-home being our URL to our blog. All right, so this is what we have here. And currently, I think we've linked most of this. We've linked most of this, but we not link this page, this sign-in page, and the register page. We didn't link them. All right, but we linked the about. We linked the okay, features. We think we don't need these features. I'll go ahead and move it. We link the contact. We link this home here. All right, so we go back to home. So we go ahead and let's go ahead and link this. So let's see how the register page looks like. Okay, so we go to our home, in our home template, and then the index, and then somewhere we should see it somewhere here, hidden somewhere. Right, so we have the login. Here it is. Okay, here there it is. For that, let's see if you have a URL to that view. Okay, we have a URL, but this URL is actually rendering HTTP response. So we change that. All right, so that's a lot of work. Not that much, but we do as much as we can. All right. So usually I say that I like to give my app a name. If we actually watch that, I think that was the class where we actually set up our blog website. I said this, that I like giving our app a name so I can explicitly specify which URL I'm using. Okay, so to do this, we go to the URL.py, and then above the URL, above the URL patterns, we give it the name, and this name must be called app name. It must be called this way, app name. Okay, app underscore name, and then this name we want to call this name accounts, right? Want to go ahead and call this accounts. Okay, want to go ahead and call this accounts. All right, so. And then also I have to give this URL's name so I can do, so that this URL can be more dynamic. So that this URL can be more dynamic. Okay, so I'll give this one the sign up view. Okay, sign up view. Okay, sign up view or dash view anyhow. And then this other one will be login view. Right. So for now we don't need the login, right? So when we did it, we put it as well. Right, so let's go back to our index and in the register, right? Because we want the register, right? So how do we actually do that? Remember the URL tag, right? The URL tag. It's a template tag. Remember this tag? We talked about the URL, and then in quotation, that's in single quotes. Because why I'm using a single quote here is because if I use a double quote, it will affect this other quote outside. Okay, so it must be, because me, it must be a single quote. Okay, must be a single quote. Then in single quote, the URL name. Okay, and that URL name was sign up view. Sign up view. All right, view. Let me confirm that. The URL name was sign up view. Okay, not this one. Sorry, this other URL. Sign up dash view. See, that's the problem. Sign up dash view. That's the name of the URL. Sign up dash view. And then just in case we have another view with the same name, so it doesn't conflict, and I'll go ahead and specify that I need the sign up view in the account app. I'll do that using the app name, right? That app name that we specify here, accounts, right? So now here we are explicitly saying that we need the sign up view that is in the account app, right? So it will be the account app name colon and then the view name and then the URL name. So with that, we have been able to link that to our URL page. So we go back here and let's refresh this page, and let's click on register, and it returns this. All right. So okay, I think we will not actually put up this sign up page. So let's go ahead and put up that sign up page. Okay. So I'll split All right, so it was in the template was in downloads. Oh gosh, let's see. Let's see if I can find that template right now. In a few minutes and we'll get that good. Okay, as you block template, all right, block template, and then register page. So we copy this and then we go to our site, and then in the account, write it around will be in the account. Okay, in the account we paste it here. We paste that page there. So instead of now returning an HTTP response, we go ahead and return and render that HTML. So in our views, so here instead of returning HTTP response, we render instead. Okay, so we do return render, and then in brackets. Now we know that this render takes in 3 arguments, right? So 2 is compulsory, and the other one is not really that. It's optional. Okay, so the first compulsory argument is the request. Okay, and then the second one is the location of the template of the HTML file. Okay, and now we will not do home, right? Like we did here, which we say home/index.com, right? Because this template was found in the home folder. Okay, but here this time around, this template is found in where? In the account folder, right? So it will be account. It will be account, not home. It's around account and slash. The template is called register, right? Register dot html, right? Dot html. All right. So that is that. So if you go ahead and refresh this, right? So we have the template there, right? So that the CSS styles is not affecting it right now. So what do we do? We extend, right? We extend. Remember, we extend. We use the extend tag. So we extend. What are we extend? Yes. So what are we extending? Which template are we extending? The index. But this index is found in the home. Okay, in the home folder, in the home. Okay, so in index.html. So that's the directory of this file, the index.html here. So if I refresh this, it gives us the home page in the account URL, which shouldn't be so. Okay, which shouldn't be so. Okay, so the reason there is because we have to use the block. Remember the block tag, right? And we have to use it after the header, right? Because the rest of this will come from where? The index.html. That the up part, this header part will come from the index. So we don't need it again. So we just need to overwrite this other part using the block tag. So we use the block body. Was it body? See if it was body. Because it has to be the same. Okay, it has to be the same. Okay, it's block body. Block body. Block body. And then before the footer, we end up block tag. Where is the footer? Well, the footer, right? Here the footer there. So before that footer, we end that block there. So we say end block. Which block are we ending? The body block, right? End block body. So if I refresh this, it should now show us the register page, right? Okay, so there it is. We have the register page right there. Right there. All right, so we don't need this anymore. So we take this out because that part will come from the index. That part will come from the index.html. So we don't need here anymore. There's no point of overcrowding the entire thing. Okay, let's see. Okay, so that is that for that. We have that. All right, so I said that Django comes alongside with its user registration form, okay, and we can use that for quick use for let's say a work or a task that that you're running out of time, okay, so you can just render that form, okay, and we use it, okay. But if you look at this form, it's kind of different. Okay? But I'll go ahead and show you the Django form, how it works, okay. But in this our block, this form is what this is the form you'll be using, okay. Because if you're, let me say, if you're a back-end developer, okay, this template will come from your front-end engineer. So this form will be given to you. So at that point, using the Django form won't really be necessary. Okay, so I'll just show you how you can actually create a new user with a customized form and with the Django form. So I'll go ahead and show us both ways. Okay, so first of all, we have to do what? We have to bring this form. You have to import this form. So remember I said that this form is easy to use. You just import it and then you use it. Okay, so where do we actually import this form? Okay, where do we actually import this form? And we import this form from a very long directory. I said that these things you don't have to cram it, right? The form name is the form is called user creation form. Okay, so if you don't know where to import it, there's nothing bad to go on Google or on your browser and Google it. Okay, go ahead and Google it, and Google will show you where to import that form from. Okay, but I already know where the form is. Okay, because I've been using it, so I already know where it is. So I'll go ahead and import it. But for starters, okay, if you don't really know where this form is, go ahead and Google it. There's nothing bad there. Okay, it's okay. So we do from Django.contrib.auth.form. Okay, that's a very long directory. From Django.contrib.auth.forms, right? It's because that's where it is. That's forms. So there are many forms there. Okay, so we just need the user creation form. So we have, if you can see, we have the user change form, the user creation form, the user model, the username field. Okay, but we just need this form there. Just not user change form, user creation form. Sorry, user creation form. That's the form we need. Okay, so now we have to pass this form to where? To the HTML, right? So I'll go ahead and I'll do like 2 views, right? I'll do like 2 views, and then we see how this thing actually works, right? So we can see the difference between this Django and the Django form and our own customized form. So I'll make a new folder, a new HTML file here, and I'll call this file let's say Django. Okay, I'll call this Django registration or register.html, right? That's its form, Django.register.html, right? So we go ahead and put this form here, right? Where this will be our customized form, and that will be a Django form. So we'll see how that works real quick. All right, so next thing is we have to pass this form to the HTML. Okay, so I'll show you what I mean by that. All right, so I'll just go ahead and change this one here to Django register form. So we understand what I'm trying to see to mean here, right? So if I refresh this, I have an okay, good. This is the Django form, right? Like this where that form should show, right? That's where that form should show. And now we have to pass this form to that page, right? So how do we actually pass a data to our HTML file? How do we pass data from our back end to the front end? Okay, so now remember I said that this render takes in 3 arguments, right? The first argument is what? The first argument is the request. The second one is the HTML file, all right? And then the last one is a dictionary. So what's a dictionary? A dictionary is like a list, right? But this one around, a dictionary has, they come in pairs, the value and the key. Okay, the key and the value, I mean, sorry. So and it's separated by comma and it's enclosed in curly braces. That's what a dictionary is. So this is a dictionary. A typical example, let's say name, right? And that's the key. And then the value would be savior. Okay, would be savior. Let's say savior Basi. Okay, and let's say another item there would be gender. Okay, gender, and then this gender would be male. Okay, so let's say that's okay. So let's say okay, so that's the third argument which the render function takes. Okay, it's a dictionary. Okay, so that's how we pass a data to our HTML. So now if we go to our HTML page like Django here, Django register.html, we can access these data using what its key, and the key here is the name and the gender. Okay, so now if I come to this page, how do I actually output those data? Now there's another tag. Probably I said that the more we go, we will discover new tags. Okay, so there's another tag. The tag is like this. That's how the tag is. Okay, two curly bracket and two curly braces. Okay, what this thing do is it's like an output in the HTML. Okay, like it output whatever data that is passed. So it output whatever data is passed into this dictionary in the HTML. What I mean is that if I go ahead and in this HTML, if I go ahead and type in name here, in between those two curly braces, now if I come here and refresh this, we have save your basic. Now I've been able to pass this data, right? This data of save your basic down to our HTML, okay? And then to output this data, we now use what? This tag, double braces, and then we output it. So I can go ahead and put this in a paragraph if I want to. Now I can put this in a paragraph if I want to. I can even bold it, okay? It doesn't matter, right? So that's how we pass in data dynamically, okay? Dynamically. So I can even say B to bold this, okay, and then we put that. And then I can do another one, let's say, and I can call this one name, okay? I can call this one name. And then I can come down here and do some other thing. Let's say for the gender, I can come here and now say gender, okay? I can come here and say gender. And gender now would now be the dictionary key there, right? The dictionary key, the gender. And then if I come back to our page and refresh this page, we now have, you see, both of them are now bold. Okay, so but that doesn't really make sense. So let's just bold just the name and gender, right? So let's go ahead and cut this out. So we cut that out and then we paste this outside here. And we cut this out as well. Cut this out as well. And then we paste this outside there. And then if we refresh this, we have name and gender. So that's how we can pass data to our HTML page. Okay. Is there a question on how I did that? Any question on how I passed those data down there? All right, so I believe there's no question. So that's the third argument that the render takes. Okay, so at times we might have over 10 items to pass. Okay, so putting these things in like this, right? The way I've done it there doesn't really make sense, because this thing you go for a very long line. Okay, so what we can do is we can actually put it in, do it as we did for this URL, right? Something like this. So let me show you what I mean. So I can come here and call a new variable. So this variable, usually I like to call it context, and you will always see it as context, right? So it's not as if it's a keyword, it's just it's a variable name. It's a variable name, okay? So what I'll do now, I'll now cut this dictionary, right? Cut dictionary from here and then paste it here. Okay, and then now put the context here as dictionary. So that's the dictionary there, right? This context is this context now is what this whole dictionary. So if I come back and refresh this page, nothing changed, nothing happens, nothing spells. Okay, so at the same time, I don't still like it the way it is in a straight line. I don't like it that way. I don't like it that way. Okay, so what I can do is I can break this into single lines, right? I can break it into single lines. So if I come here and now cut this and break this into that line there. Sorry, let's say I come here and break this into one line and break that one into another line. So I can come back, I can now come here and break that one into another line. So I can, with this, I can have as many dictionary items as possible. So I can even come here and add another one, right? I can come here and let's say phone, right? That's mobile number, right? And then in this, or let's say email, let's use email, right? Let's use email. Email is reasonable. Email, and then the email, and then the value of that email will be what? Savior Okay, just say example. Let's say user at gmail.com, right? So that's the value, and this is the key. So now I can go to my HTML page and do what? And reference it. So all I have to do is to copy this as well and paste here, and then do for what? Email, and then pass in what? The dictionary key, which was email. Okay, it was email, and then refresh this, and we have that user at gmail.com. All right, so is there a question with that? There's no question with that. Okay, so that's good. Let's go ahead and pass the form as well. So I'm not to show us how passing of data works, and that's how it works. So what we do now is want to go ahead and pass this form. If you have someone has question, all right. So okay, it's not a question. So that's how we pass data from our back end, or from our side, from our server side to the client side. It's done that way. So the third argument here is the dictionary, and you can have as many as you want, as many data as you want. So it's better you do it this way. Okay, it's better you do it that way. It's more better do it that way. Okay, so real quick, we'll continue. So now we want to pass in this form, right? Because this form has been created, or this form has been created for us already. So we have to code it, you have to import it, and then we know what, we pass it to the front end for the user to do what? Use. Easy peasy. All right, so now we want to go ahead and pass this form. So now how do we pass this form? We come here, we come here, but you pass it to what? Dictionary as usual. So I want to call this form. All right, you can call it anything. You can call it relation form, user form, anything at all. Okay, so what this thing will now be this form here. So I'll bring you user creation form. So I'll paste it there. Right, so we have to actually initiate this form, right? Like initiate it, since it's more like a function, so you have to initiate it. So we open and close that bracket there, right? Open and close that bracket there, and we can come to our front end, to our HTML template, and where is it? Sorry, to our HTML template here, and know what? And we put the form. So since this is a form, we just come, we put it inside a form tag, right? We put it inside a form tag. Let's move this action for now. Put it inside a form tag, since that's a form, okay? And then we go ahead and we display it. We call it form. Easy peasy, form created. And if you refresh this, right? So that's the Django form. You see, it's not as beautiful as our form, right? But what you can actually do again is you can actually, so now if you notice, this form does not come with a button to submit it, right? This form doesn't come with a button to submit it. So what we can do is we can come inside this form, and then we put another button here, like a button here. You can call this button, and it will be a submit button. So that's why you can go ahead and submit the form. So this form will say register, right? Register. And if you refresh it, we now have that there. So let's go ahead and break this. Okay, let's put this in like a div, right? Let's put a div, so it be on its own line. Okay, so this is just basic HTML, right? Div takes up its own line. So if I put this button inside here, it should be on its own line now, right? So if I come here and refresh, you have it there. Though it's not as beautiful as our form, right? But you see the form here, right? So far, let me move the other ones there. So this one was just for illustration to show you how you can pass data to the front end, right? So if I refresh this, that's the form. That's Django form there, right? You see how there's a lot of instructions that says username, and it's required. It might be 150, not less 150 characters or fewer. That means your username cannot exceed 150 characters, and it can contain letters, digits, and the rest of this. All right. So this one is also password, and that's password. If you notice, all these things are in one line, right? They're basically in one line, and here we have a list here. These are on other lists. That's basically HTML with certain instruction that says your password can't be similar to your personal information. Your password must contain at least 8 characters, and your password can't be commonly used. Can't be commonly used password, and then your password can't be entirely numeric. And then we have the password confirmation, and then it says enter the same password as before for verification. Right, that's a lot of instructions. Okay, but these are know this already, right? There's no point of like putting this on the user and making it look somehow, right? So what we can do to actually, let's see if, right? So now what we can do now is we have the form, we have the submit button. So what do we do? Okay, how do we register it now, right? How do we actually register a user? Okay, so now before that, let's see how we can split this form into sections, like into another lines, because it's kind of like crowded, okay, at this point. So just a simple stuff, very simple. Just come here and we add dot as paragraph. Means when you want to display this form, put it in a paragraph kind of style, okay, that everything should be on its own line. Okay, so if I come here and refresh this, now we have things going on its own line. Now we have the password that was on the same line with this is now in its own line. If you see, it's now its own line, and this one too is online, and this too, right? So that's a lot better than before. Okay, so real quick, how do we register, right? So now remember I said that so there are basically two kinds of requests. There are more there are different kinds of requests, okay, but the most the common ones are the get and the post and request. So what the difference between the get and the post request? The difference is once we navigate to a certain URL, that is a get. We are making a get request to that URL. Okay, we are making a get request to that URL. Okay, so that, like, let's say if I click on the about and it shows me the about page, I'm making a get request to where the about URL, right? If I click on contact and then I see the contact URL, I'm making a get request to where the contact URL. If I click on register here and it takes me and it takes me to this page, I'm making what a get request to what this URL. Okay, so now what is now a post request, right? A post request is a kind of a request we made when we are actually submitting data. Okay, so now if you go to facebook.com/sign-up, okay, and then you fill in your register and then you click on register, okay, that form goes to a particular URL. Okay, it goes to a particular URL, and that method, okay, that request is known as a post request. Okay, when submitting a data is known as a post request, and then when getting a particular page is known as what? A get request, right? So now, what kind of request do you think we want to do here after registering this? Okay, like after you come here and you put in your username, your password, and then your password again, and then you click on submit. What kind of request is that? Post request. That's a post request. Okay, that's a post request. So what happens here is that each time we navigate to this view, because this view, okay, because this view, right, all these views here are what is doing what what is showing these pages. Okay, because this here now is what this page here is what is the sign up view, right? This other page here is what the home view, right? This is then this other page here is what the about view. This other page here what is the contact view. Okay, so that is our views that are rendering these pages. Okay, and by default, the kind of request that comes to this view by default are known as get request. Okay, by default they are get request. Okay, so now how do we identify a get request from a post request? We'll show you that real quick. Okay, so another thing again I want to show you is that if we try to fill this in, right, is that Django uses what? The username to authenticate. That's to someone Django uses the username to authenticate. That's to log in users. Okay, so that's why this username is compulsory. If you notice, we do not have the email field here, but if you go to our admin page, right, if you go to our admin page /admin, right, and come to users, all right, we have a row for email, we have a row for first name and last name. Okay, we have a row for email, first name and last name, right? But look at this form, we don't have those spaces. That's because here are not compulsory, meaning that, and also they are not unique, right? But your username must be unique, meaning that I cannot sign up with this username again, admin username. I can't use that to sign up again, right? So all those functionalities will be handled by Django automatically, right? So you don't have to write code for that. Django will authenticate that, will process that for you. Okay, so now if I try to fill in this, let's say I fill in something like let's say Savvy as username and password as test 123, and then another password as test 123, and then try to click submit or register, right? Someone has a question there, right? Someone say that you do not understand the post and the get request, right? So I think that one more time. So I said that the post request is a kind of request we make when submitting data. Okay, so a typical example is, let's say we go to www.facebook.com/signup, and then we go there and then we fill in our data, like let's say the phone number, your email, and so on and so forth. And then you click on register. Now, once you click on register, it takes you to another page, right? Now that request now is known as a post request because you've submitted a data. So when submitting data, it's known as post request. Then when navigating to a certain page, like now, I navigate to this home page, that's a get request because I have not submitted any data. Now I click on contact, I'm simply navigating to the contact page. That's also a get request because I have not submitted any data. If I go to about page, I'm just navigating to the about page, and I'm making a get request to that page, right? Because that's because I'm not submitting any data. Okay, so now if you click on register and then you come here and you fill in stuff, your things, your data, and click on submit or register, that's the post request. That's because you're making submission of data to a certain URL. Okay, the URL doesn't matter. Okay, but that action is known as a post request. The process of you submitting something to a particular URL is known as a post request. Okay, so that's the difference between post and get request. Okay, so now what do you want to do now? You have to head over to our form, our Django form right here. Now, HTML, okay, has this thing that we can specify what kind of request we want to make. Okay, because this is a form. Okay, the HTML knows that this form we use form basically to submit data. Okay, so that they know, okay, whoever had this language knows that each time we use the form tag, we use it for submission. So we can go ahead and specify using the method, right, what kind of request we want to make in this form, right, when submitting this form, if it's a get request or a post request, right? So in our case, it will be a post request. That's because we want to submit whatever data we put in this form. Okay, whatever data we want to put in this form, we want to submit it. So we want to do a post request once this submit button has been clicked. Okay, so now if I come here and refresh that and try to put some data, like let's say test, or let's say test user, right? Test.
So what do you mean by form dot as dot p?
Okay, form dot has p.
What's the function?
The function of it is to help, because this is to split this form into separate lines. Okay, so let's take that off and show you what that means. So if I take this, okay, if I take this off and refresh this page, now you see how this password comes into the same line with this other side, right? It puts everything almost congested. Okay, so everything gets congested there. So now I'm simply saying, once I print this form, or once I render this form here to our HTML, okay, I want to render it as a paragraph. That's what P means. Render has paragraph. So dot has P. P means has paragraph. That's what it means. Render it has paragraph. So now if you look at this, the password is here, right? Now if I refresh this, password now goes on its own line. Okay, that's how the paragraph works. That's how paragraph tags work. So now if I come here, let me show you something else. If I come here and let's say I use span tag, right? Span tag is an inline element. Okay, let's just say I put in a few things. Let's say hello, and then I put in another one here. I put in another one here. Copy this, paste, paste, and this one hello 1, hello 2, and hello 3. Now, if you see what happens, it shows them on the same line, right? But if I come here and put each of them in a paragraph tag in P, so if I cut this and put it in this tag P, okay, I'll just replicate that. I'll replicate this. So paste this here, paste this here. All right, what's going on here? Okay, so something else. All right, so let's close this tag. All right, and let's say hello 2 and hello 3. Okay, if I refresh this now, look at this hello, that's in the same line, right? If I refresh this, it now goes in its own line. Okay, so that's what the paragraph tag does. It's put things in their own line, separate line. So that what is happening here. So it's just putting those form elements in their own lines, okay, to make it a little bit okay for the eye. So
then the design, like which particular HTML do we design this sign up?
This form, right? This thing was okay. We did not create this already. I viewed this source code, and that this what we are having. This whole thing is what we are having here. Now, Django wrote this code for us. And this form starts from here. This form starts from that Django has given us, right? Django gives us just that form, right? So let's put this in paragraphs, each of them a paragraph for us. We didn't actually create this form ourselves, okay? Django did that for us. So it wasn't all that created this form. Django did, okay?
Okay, like now, like this form now was created by Django. But when we are saying that if you want to create your own, there's two ways to create for your own form.
Yeah, we are getting there, right? So, because let's say this is our form, right? This is the form we want to use. The form that came without our block template. That's the form we want to use. This works, right? You have to implement in that our own
block. I don't understand. What I don't understand, that HTML that Django writes, how were you able to bring it out? That
how was I able to bring it? Okay,
yes.
Okay, here's the form in our views. I imported the form. Here's the form. That this form comes with those HTML codes. Okay, so when I pass this form to our HTML, okay, to our HTML, I just output the form, okay, and code is pre-written, okay. It just displays. So this is the thing I did here, right? I didn't code anything. I just put the form here. I just output it using this tag, this output tag here, okay. I just output the form, and here's the and here it's what came with that form, okay. And if you inspect this, this is a full and this is HTML fully written for us. We did not write this. It was written for us automatically. Okay, we did not write this.
And I copied it.
No, I not copied it. I just output this form. This form is here, right? This is the output here. This whole thing here, that's the output. So all these things came with what? All those things, they came inside here. This user creation form. All those things came inside the user creation form.
I can't even see the gender again. The gender is no longer showing. The email is no longer showing.
Yeah,
it's only username.
Yes, I removed it. I removed them. If you go to our page here, it's not, they are no longer there. It's just this one that's there. So if you want to put it back, you can just come here and I put them email, and you come here and you refresh it, and you see your email, see them right there. So I removed it.
Okay, just called only the form. You just called only the form.
Yes, I need just the form. And the other one was for illustration of how to pass and data from the server side to the client side. Okay, so I used the other ones for the illustration, right? But for this page, we just need this form. Okay? That's the only thing we need on this page. Okay.
Okay. Then the button.
The button, right? This button here, okay? This button, okay, this form, and this form did not come with button, okay? This form did not come with button. So if I take this out, it's just the form without the button. So how do you user submit this form, okay, after filling it? So you have to come here and put the button. So that's the only thing we did there. We just put
now use a hand
button.
Use a hand to create the button.
Yes,
use a hand, okay.
Use a hand to create the button. The rest came from Django. Okay. All right. So now, all right. So now we now see that this form.
Sorry, sir. The password now, that password now is now basically created defaultly based on. Does it work the same way? Like you must put 8 character. If you don't put 8 character, it do not work. All those stuff.
Yes. Yes.
And is that small code? Is that small HTML code that is doing that?
Django will handle this automatically. Okay.
Wow.
For now, Django will handle this automatically. Django won't even. Okay, so I'll show you how we validate this form. Okay, because if it's not valid, Django it's just one line of code to validate this form. Okay, that's why I said that Django is, so I say, for quick work, like easy, really quick work. Just use Django. It has basically everything pre-written. Okay, so for now, if you submit this form, if you try submitting this form, if you come here and try to do like, if you try to just say use like test 1 with password of, let's say, certain password of, let's say, Qwerty111, right, as password, and here we come again Qwerty111. Now, if you try to submit this form, it shows us forbidden, right? We've seen this error before when we try to submit for newsletter, all right, in our front end. We saw this error before, right? This error, we saw it here when we try to submit this thing here. So we did something like Savior Bazi 2021 gmail.com. Now we try to submit this one, but this is a form also. Here is a form, okay? We try to submit this. It shows the same error. So now, why are we having that error? Why are we having that error? Okay, Django is security conscious, right? So you don't just submit data to Django anyhow. Okay, Django has to know that this data is coming from me. Okay, I'm aware of this data. So how do we do that? We use one more tag in all our forms, in all anything that requires submission, like anything that requires post form records. It's likely to be a form. Okay, anything that requires form, you must put this tag, the CRSF token. Okay, so the tag is like this. Just put it at the top of your form, like after your form tag. You just put that tag there, right? This tag is an hidden tag, right? It's an hidden tag. It helps. It adds security to this form, so that Django knows. Okay, fine. This form is from me. This form is okay. I'm aware of this form. So this tag is called CRSF _ token. That's the tag name. CRSF on a token. If you refresh this page, you won't see the tag. Oh, sorry, I think I've misspelled that. It is CSRF. Sorry, CSRF token. CSRF token. So if I refresh this, now the tag is not showing here. But if I inspect this page again, okay, now you see this. You see this tag. It's a hidden tag, right? Now Django knows, okay, fine, this form is from me. So once you submit this tag, that tag will be sent alongside, right? So that Django knows, right, that this is from me. Okay, so what it does, it adds additional layer of security. Okay, so now you cannot submit any form without this tag. So you must put that tag CSRF token. What it means is that the CSRF token stands for cross-site request forgery token. Let that ask for you. Cross-site request forgery token. Okay, that what it means. So now it adds additional security to any submission, to any post request. Okay, because Django would not let you submit anything to the server side without this. So this thing must be there, right? So if I come back again, let's see, I try to refresh this and let's say test again and password. Let's say password again. 1 to 3. All right, listen. Password.
Okay, sir. Now, how do we make that? Is it because of that CROS token? When you click register, it will now post the information to our back end.
Yes, it is this. It is this token.
Just this thing that we just put here now.
Just that thing, and we have that long random code that is there. It's called, this thing is randomized. Okay, it's randomized, so it's for security reasons. You see it, its value. The value is as long as that. So can someone sit down and cram this whole value? And this value is not the same. It changes. Okay, it's randomized. So it's not a constant value. Okay, so just that small line of code, and we've solved that. All right, so let's try and see what happens again. Yes.
Can I see? Sorry, sir. Can I see your URL?
My URL.
The URL in the home.
Okay, in the home. No, actually, we are doing this in the account because I want the account to process this. So it's the account. It's the account. We are working on our account app now. So this is the URL here. Sign up view, right? So I remember I said that to make this dynamic, to make our URL more dynamic, we give it a app name and then a URL name, so you can make it more dynamic, right? So it is in our sign up view.
But the page that we are the page you are doing that now is the Django register page.
Yes. I just created this template, right, for demonstration purpose, right? So these are actual page that we will use for our blog. Okay, but this one is just for the sake of showing you how Django form works. Okay,
demonstration based on the Django form.
Yes.
Based on the Django form.
Yes, when we are done with this, we'll go ahead and use our own form, right? Because our own form is very wonderful. Our form, no, but you can still use this form if you want to. But I really use that form because most of the sign up pages won't be like this. It can never be like this. Okay. All right. So that is, so now let's go back and see how, let's see if this thing works. Let's try and register something.
Okay, so now I want to confirm which particular table is this form now posting this data into.
Okay. All right. So now I said that
how does he know the particular page? How does he know the particular page to post this into? Is it by default?
By default, it knows where to actually save your data, right? So, but if you go to your admin page, there's a user table. Okay, there's a user table here.
Right here, the one we created that time.
No, I did that one. I said that we will be using that table, right? So we use this default, the original user table. Okay, so this is the Django original users table, and this is what we'll be using, right? So there's no point.
The one that was there before. The one was there before.
Yes, there's no point of us creating our own user table when there's already a user table here. Okay, so there's no point of us creating a user table again.
We needed to know the password now before, like remember when we in our command prompt we created a super user.
Yes.
For us to be able to log into this back end.
Yes.
We created a super user, and that super user we entered password as admin. We entered the username as admin, and we enter our own password, that we know.
Yes.
Then when we now came inside this place, we made an email optional. We made email optional. Then after that, we now saw users in this particular back end.
Yes.
Where we now entered, we just entered the name, our name, and all that, and just to fill up this place.
Yeah.
So is it that super user that we created that this Django is posting this form?
Yes.
It's posting this particular information.
Yes.
We are creating too.
Yes. By default, if you are using the Django.
Sorry, can't hear you.
You can't hear me. By default, if you are using the Django form, okay, Django will automatically.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hello? So I think it's from his side. He can't hear me. Okay, I think it's from his side.
Hello?
But if you can you hear us?
I can hear you now.
Okay, all right. So by default,
I can hear you
if you
now.
are using okay, all right. By default, if you are using this Django form, okay, Django will automatically save those users to this table. Okay, so this table now will have more other users, both the staff users and the non-staff users, right? This table is for all the users. Okay, so if you are using this Django form, okay, we are actually going to Django will automatically
Sorry,
know that.
I didn't get you very right. I didn't get you quite all right.
Okay, I said that if you are using the user creation form, right, the default form that Django uses for user creation, right, Django will automatically save that new user in this table, in the same table that we are now, this table here. Okay, so you don't have to specify to Django. Django will automatically save that user there. Okay. So that's what will happen. Okay. All right. So let's
automatically do what? To automatically do what?
Django will automatically save the user to this user's table, to this table here. This table here. Did you get that? So I think we've lost him there, right? We've lost him, right? So, right, let's try to sign up a new user and see. So we go ahead and see test, and then password would be, let's say, QWERTY111 as password, and this one QWERTY again 111. All right. So if you click register now, right, nothing happens, but the data has actually been submitted, but nothing happens. If we come to here to our page, our table, the data is not there, but that data has actually worked, has actually submitted. Okay, so now how do we grab this data and save it to the user base, right? So that's where our back end comes in now. Okay, that's where our back end comes in now, right? So remember I said that by default, each time we go to a view, we make a get request. Okay, each time we come to this view we make a get request. Okay, a get request. So now what I can come here and do is I can come here and now check if a particular request is a post request. And how do we do that? We now come and use the if condition and say that if request, right, for this request has a function in it called method, right? So now to get that method, we now say if request dot method, right, is what is equals to what? A post with in caps lock, a post. So now this here will now check if this request what is a post request. Right? So let's prove that if that works, let's go ahead and print. Right? Remember, this print won't print to our screen. The print will print to where our command line. So let's say we have made a post request. We have made a post request. Okay. So now if there's a request, so now if I come here and I refresh this page, no, I'm not submitting the form again. Let's come back here. So so now I come here, I'm now in the I'm in the sign up view. But if I refresh this and go and check my command prompt, okay, not that message have not actually displayed. Okay, but if I come here and make a request, say another say test, let's say another one test, and password, let's say password QWERTY 123 or say 12 QWERTY 111 as password, and here again QWERTY 111 as password. Okay, and then we click submit. Right now to know if you have actually made a post request, okay, this message should actually display. Okay, so now if I come to my command prompt and check, we see here we have made what? A post request. Okay, so now we have made a post request, right? So that's how you actually check if a request that is coming to this view is a post or a get request. No point of us coming to check for a get request, because automatically or by default it will always be a get request. So there's no point of us saying if request is equals to get for get request. Okay, there's no point of us doing that. So because that is automatically. So now this is a post request. So now this message works. So now how do we grab this data from those form? How do we grab this data from the form? Right? How do you actually grab that data from that form? So now what we can do is we can now come and now check. And we can now come here and now say that, okay, fine. If we have a get request, okay, I want to get a user data from where? From the user creation form, right? Because that's the form that is being used to make this submission, okay? And then don't just initiate, or because this, remember, this one initiate what? An empty form. The same thing that happens here, right? That's why you're having an empty form there, right? So the same thing happens here. When we do a get request, we have a form that's an empty, but this time around, we don't want an empty form, right? We want the form to come with it, the request.post data, right? Those data that came alongside with this post request. So we have we want this form with in this form with the request.post, right? Meaning all those data that came with the post request, I want all of them, okay? I want all of them. I want to assign this to what? I want to assign this to user, as I say, data, right? User data. I want to assign it to a user data, right? I want to assign it to a user data. So now, with that, so now when I grab all this, when I grab all whatever the user will input here, when I grab it in where? When I grab it in the request.post, okay, because that will come alongside with the request method, okay? That will come alongside with the request, with the post request method, okay? It will come alongside with it. So I'll grab that data here, okay, and then I'll save that data to where? The user data. Then how do we validate this form? Simple, very simple as ABC, very simple as ABC. How do we validate this form? So now after we have gotten this, we now want to check that if this form is valid, right? We want to check if the form is valid. So now it's coming and say that if form, right? If form, if the user data, right, what we get from there, from here, right? What we get from whatever, what all those data, if it's valid, and how do we check it? And how do we check if this form is valid? We use the is valid function, okay? Is valid function, and yours is underscore valid. If user dot is valid, it's a default, is a general function, so you can use it on these users details, okay? So you can come here and say it's a function, we have to initiate it. So now we want to check that if the user detail is valid, okay? We want to go ahead and do what? And save it. We want to go ahead and save it. So now we want to go ahead and now save user data dot save, okay? We want to go ahead and save it. So we only want to save it if it is valid, okay? So what happens if it's not valid? What happens if this thing is not valid? What happens if it is not valid? We want to do what? For now, we will pass, right? For now, we will pass. For now, we will pass, right? So we will pass for now.
What do you mean by is valid? What do you mean by is valid?
It's valid. It's a function.
Why are we confirming valid? Like why are we confirming? What I mean now, like the value that we are confirming, is it the username or just the password? Because we have already coded a particular guideline for the password, which if the password is not entered like that, it's not going to enable the user to pass to anything. So what particular validation are we trying to confirm?
All right. So the validation we're trying to confirm here is the username uniqueness, right? So this function is kind of like, it's a Django-based function, right? So now Django will do this function here. Django will check. Django will check if that username exists in a user base, in the database. If it exists, you can't use that username again. That's because Django uses a username and password to validate. So imagine having two usernames, that will bring up confusion. Okay, so we cannot get we cannot have more than two the same username. Okay, so this is valid. Now we check if the username exists, and also check if the password matches, and also check all these instructions here, and also check if the password matches, and also check if your password is similar to what your username, and every other verification necessary, okay, for for Django, it will check that just with this function, right? Just with that function. So now, if this to return true, mean that those data are valid, right? So now, if these data are valid, right, you want to go ahead and do what? We save it. We save those users' data. So now we say then else for now, if it's not valid, for now we will pass. Right? For now we will pass. Okay. So let's go ahead and see. So now, after being saved, what happens? Okay, what happens? We want to take the user to where? To the home page, right? But when we want to when we step into login and logging out after creation of user, I expect that user to log in. Okay, but for now, we just pass that user to where? To the home page. So we do what? We return a redirect here. If it's valid, we do what? We return a redirect. Right? It's a function also. So you have to import it. So it's okay, it's here already. So you have to redirect, right? The user to where? To a particular view. And that view, this thing takes in a view, right? Like a URL, right? This thing takes in a URL. A redirect takes in a URL. So I want to redirect the user. If this thing is saved, I want to do what? Redirect the user to where? To the home view. This view here, the home view, this view. So the URL to this view is called the home view URL. Okay, it's called the home view URL. So now we come here and say I want to redirect the user to the home view URL, right? Not just to any home view URL, the one in the home app. So I come here and say home. Remember, I gave our app name. Let's go and check. I gave our app name called home. Right? So I want to redirect that user to the home URL, right? And not just any home URL, the URL that is where in the home app, this home app here, right? So now let's go ahead and see if this works for us. Okay, so I'll refresh this and not to submit a new one. Cancel this. Oh, cancel that. Let's see. All right, so I'll refresh this. I think something is taking time. Or server is taking time to load. So all right, so everything is up and running. All right, so let's refresh this one more time. All right, so let's say we have test user, right? We have password as let's say Kweti111, right? You have another one to confirm Kweti111, right? And then we click register, and it seems that to not redirect, right? So let's see what happens. Let's refresh this and see if it actually save. And it did not actually save that, right? It did not actually save that, right? So let's see what is happening here. Right. So let's go back to here and let's see what is happening. All right. If request the method post is supposed to post, and I want to go ahead and grab the user credentials. And then want to check if that user credential is valid, and then you want to go ahead and save user credential and go ahead and redirect. Okay, so let's see what is happening here, right? So let's see what is happening here. All right, let me give me a few minutes. Let's see what is happening there. All right, let's go to start this again. So it's required. All right, so let's see test user. Test user. All right, let's see, Kweti111. Let's see, Kweti111. All right, let's start this. Let's see. All right, so simple debugging. Let's see if we actually got to this point. Right, so let's see if we got to this point. So let's print something out here. Let's see if we actually got to print to the safe point. All right, so let's say point 1. All right, this is simple. This is simple way of debugging of code, just in case your code is not going as planned. So let's see, this is point 1. So in order to be sure that my code actually got to this line, all right, you have to actually print this line first. So if I can't see this line printed, that means it didn't actually get to that point, right? So let's see.
In that OMR, we always import our form, our database.
All right. Yeah. Well, here we don't have to do that. It will do that automatically. For us. So, all right. So let's see what is happening here. Let's see what is happening here. Okay. So let's try it again. Let's click submit and let's see. It happened that we did not actually even get to that point. Nope, did not submit this. So let's say test user 111. Let's say pass 11111. So password 111. And let's say pass word 111. The post request, but it's not actually showing that. All right, so let's see what happens there. All right, let's see the pass. Now let's go ahead and say if it's not valid, let's redirect. Right, so let's see what happens. Let's redirect to somewhere else. Right, let's go to, let's say, the about view. If it's not valid, right? Purpose of testing, we change that about view. Right, if it's valid. All right, if it's not valid, right? It's not valid. So let's, okay, if it's not valid, we go to the about view. Okay. All right, so let's see. Let's user. Let's see one. Okay, I'm quit 111. Let's register this. All right, so it seems it wasn't valid. So we had the other is the password. So let me find more complex kind of password, right? So it happened that our registration was not that valid. Okay, what happened is use something else, right? Let's say let's say admin 3. We have 2 already, so 3 this time around. Admin 3, and let's use a strong password, right? Let's see. It says here that the password. Let's say okay. Then register. All right, so that works. So the problem was our password, right? The password was too simple. It was just the first row of my keyboard, right? So it was way too simple. So Django will not let you create an account with such password because it's too simple. So what I made a password a little bit complex. So I added an uppercase, lowercase, number, and a special character. All right. So if I refresh this, now we have the admin 3. Right, as username, but no email, no first name, no last name. But here we have a non-staff, right? So that's how it should be for someone that does not have the admin panel, right? That for someone that does not have the privileges to access our back end, because this is more like our admin page, right? So it's only us that should access this. Any other user that registered from the front end should not access this. So it's okay to be like that. It's okay to be like that. Okay, so we do not have question, right?
This user page now is the user page that we created by ourselves by creating super user, right?
Yes, Django will create this user automatically by itself, right? Just here.
I'm talking about the table. The table.
Right, minister. This user table came alongside with Django, okay? So I said
but for us to be able to log into that page, to that table, we needed
to a super user. Yeah, yes.
that's what I want
So
to confirm.
yeah. So and there's no other way we can create a super user apart from our command prompt, right? So if you can look at like this now, this does not have a super user. So any user that we create from the front end cannot have the super user permission, okay? So that's not a good thing. So you can actually post a site for someone and they still have access to their database just in case they don't trust on them. We wipe the database. But don't do that. Just in case they don't trust on them, we wipe the database. We wipe the entire database. But don't do that. Okay, so let's try again. Let's go ahead and create another user. So let's say test user. So remember the user, your password must be a little bit complex, okay? So I'll try something complex, right? Something complex here. All right, something really complex.
That you are creating now, can you still assign them access to edit the back end, panel by through that back end? You assign them, like if you want to assign this user, okay, to be able to have a super admin.
Yes, you can just click on that user, okay, and just go down. You see where it says permission, okay, and then you tick here super user and staff user, and then you go ahead and save. And it doesn't have super user, but I'll take it off from Z. So there it is. So now this active means that you can actually make someone unactive, meaning like that person exists in your database, but cannot actually log in. So that active must be checked. So I'll save this and take off that admin user from the person. All right. So that is that for creating a user with So it seems that the other one we did did not create. Okay, that one because the password was kind of simple. Okay, so let's try something else. Let's say test is test 3. Let's say that. And let's say this password that's a very long password. All right, register this and we have registered another user because we're being redirected to the homepage. All right, so another user has been created. Another user has been created right here. So that is how Django forms. So now you see how easy it is. Okay, you see how easy it is, right? See how easy it is. So it's as easy as that. So that's basically how we can make a post request. And okay, so and this is how we get the data. We now validate if the data is valid. We leave that to Django to do that for us. And then this should print point 1 now, by now, I believe. Right, point 1, there it is. Right, so that's a simple way of debugging your code, right? So if your code doesn't get the way it should be, try putting print statements above that line and see if your code had even went down to that line, right? So you know where you are. So I'll go ahead and take this off. That serves its purpose, and that is that. So after that, so by default, right, this thing should redirect us to the login page, right? Which we'll do that thing in our next class, not this class. Yes, sir. Question.
That's a confirmation. Okay. So this particular code now is just for sign up.
Just for sign up.
As far as the password conforms to the basic requirements, it will save it.
Yes, it will save it.
Okay, so maybe much later we'll not do sign in too, right?
Yes, we'll sign in and log out, right? But that won't be in this class, right? This is just for sign up, right? So so there are possible reasons why we can't actually sign up something. So far that form is not that good, right? So but we can actually do something to make this form wonderful, at least good, okay? At least a little bit good, right? So what we can
but this particular form now we are using to sign up is not the one in our blog. It's not the one in our blog site now. We still do one for the blog now.
Yes. We still the one for our blog, okay. But let's assume that someone wants to use this form, okay. So how can you make this form it will be wonderful or more wonderful than this? Because so far these are how it is, but it shouldn't be like this. It doesn't really make sense, okay. So how do we make this form a little bit wonderful, right? So let's see. Let's try and see how you can make that form good. So let's go ahead and extend our. Let me go ahead and extend our index here. Let's see if this thing will look good. Extend a home / index dot html, right? Right. Then I want this to be our block body. Block body. And then end block body, right? And let's go ahead and put this form in a div. Let me give this div simple style of margin. All right, let's say margin. I'm not really good in front end, okay? Not that, well, at least I know the basic of front end, but I can't actually sit down to do these things. Okay, so just say 20 pixel, or is it px, something like that. Let's see how this form looks like. Okay, we paste that in there. Let's refresh this form. Okay.
Sir, hello.
Yep. Question.
Is it block body or block content?
Just body. We use body. We use body. Because body here it is body. It was body we used. So if you use content, then it should be content.
Okay, because in the first class we learned about blocking. It's block content that we used.
Okay, probably I think I had changed that to body. So let me.
The two of them work, both block body and block content.
Yes, this body is just a variable. The body is not the variable. The keyword there is the block.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, the body is so whatever variable you use there is what you use in the rest of your templates. So here I use body. So you can use content in yours. It works just fine. Right. So what you see here is not really that good. Honestly, not really that good. Right. It doesn't still really look good. So let's what we can do again, because the wait time is just moving fast. Good. All right. So let's use 50 and see how this thing works. All right. So let's use this space in there. All right. So far it's not still looking good. So what we can do is we can add a third party application, right? It's called Crispy form, right? It works with Django forms, right? But this is Django form. This form here is Django form, right? This form is not our form. This is Django form, right? So you can add a third party kind of form, and that third party will come with the power of Bootstrap and then make our form wonderful, very wonderful, very wonderful. All right. So okay, let's see how this thing works, right? So I want to go ahead and install it because it's a third party. You can actually, because just for all that wants to use this form for quick kind of stuff, so you have to make it wonderful, more wonderful than this. So far it's not looking good. Okay, so far it's not looking good, and this button is not looking good. So I might change the button too as well to this button. So I'll copy this button here, go and paste there. Right? But let's see how you can make this form look good. So the third party is called Crispy tag, and sorry, Crispy template. So you have to install it. You have to install it. I'll break my server for now and clear my screen. So to install it, we use pip. Remember how to install a package. Pip install. It's called Django-crispy-forms. Right? Django is a Django third-party application. Django crispy-forms. Okay, and then we go ahead and click enter. It should go ahead and install that for us. The package is not that big. It's in KB, so it's not that big. Sorry, it's in KB there. It's not that big. So go ahead and run our server again. So how do we apply this to our form? Right? How do we apply it to our form? First of all, we have to register it because it's a third-party application. Right? It's an app, so you have to register it. So we go to our settings.py file, down, up, where we have register apps. Sorry, install apps. Okay, install apps. Okay, so I said that I'll show us how to install apps the recommended way. All right, so I think I'll show that to us later, right? Later. So to register this app, you register it as Crispy Forms. Crispy Forms. Crispy underscore forms. That's how you register that app. And then Bootstrap kind of app, right? It uses Bootstrap. So you have to specify which Bootstrap are you using or do you wish to use. Okay, so the easiest one is so far is Bootstrap 4. Okay, Bootstrap 5 has its own how you set it up. Okay, so to make it like easier for us, we use Bootstrap 4. Okay, so down your settings file again to the bottom of it, or anyway, but I like putting mine at the bottom. So at the bottom of our settings.py file, we have to put something what we call Crispy. It must be spelled this way, right? It must be spelled this way: Crispy underscore template underscore pack and this should be equals to a string of Bootstrap 4. Bootstrap 4, right? So that is that. So let's see how I spell that correctly. Bootstrap 4, all right? So that is that. So that's the only thing you need. So and then you go to your form and then you apply the you apply it to your form. And how do you apply it to your form? You come here. So instead of doing form has P, we now use a filtered and you use a backslash. Sorry, there's this slash, right? I don't know this slash here. That's long one, right? That's just one. But you join it, okay? That's slash there, and then you do Crispy, and Crispy, right? So and then since it's because now it's a template, so now Django has to know how to load this template, right? So you have to actually load that template in. So remember our load tag again. So above here, we put our load tag there again. Load. And then what are we loading? We are loading Crispy Forms tag. That's how it must be spelled this way, please. Crispy Forms tag. Crispy underscore forms underscore tags, right? Underscore tags. And that's that. And then let's see how this form looks after this effect or these changes. Okay. And it says that Crispy is not defined. Let's see what's going on in our settings of Wi-Fi. I think I fixed that. So that's one thing about autosave, okay? Because as I'm typing, it's safe. So at times, when I actually complete what you've typed, I think you just save and then break your server. See, we actually had the correct thing, but our server did not VS Code saved it automatically. I say Crispy not found. Okay, settings in line. Crispy name Chris not defined. Sitting line 129.
Maybe you made a mistake with the spelling somewhere. Instead of Crispy, what's Chris?
Let me see what is going on here. Crispy. Oh, have I made a mistake there? Let's see. Crispy. Crips. I've completed that spelling. What's going on here? It's saying. Let's see. Crispy forms. Okay, it's correct then. Crispy forms. Crispy on the template. It's really good. No name account. Oh. All right. So I think I figured it out. Comma. It says comma is very important in this life. As a programmer, comma is important. So that was comma's problem. And then you see how wonderful the form now looks. It's now white. It's kind of white. It's now spanning through. But at least now it makes sense, right? So let's say so now it makes sense in the sense that if you try to let's try registering with a user that already exists. Let's say admin, right? So let's say admin here, and then we do something with a very nice, wonderful password. Okay, and then another password here. And another register, right? A strict, that means that it's not valid. That means that it's not valid, right? Right. So that is working. That's working just fine. So it means that it's not valid, right? It's not valid. So that's why we're having this about page. If not, we would have been in the home page.
And we cannot see the password. We cannot see the password at the back end.
You mean the password? The password is being hashed. See, that's how it is. You can't actually see the password as it is. So you have to, in order to see the password, you have to hash it. Hash this. So can you hash this? So you see, raw. So it's body written here, right? Raw password are not saved, so there are no way to see the user's password. But you can change the password, but you cannot actually see the user password. You can only change it. You cannot see it. So it's saved in this algorithm. They hash it. So that's the beautiful thing about Django. Okay, they hash your password. So when you try to log in, it takes that password and hash it to this as well. So if it doesn't match, it tell you that it doesn't match. Okay. So I think in our next class we have to work with our own actual setup view and set up template, right? Not this one again, right? So this one is just the Django on. So with that CRISPR, you see how beautiful it is now, right? So this button here is still not making sense. So let's go and grab this button here and put it there, so it makes sense a little bit. So that button is found in the home, in the index, in the footer. That button is there in the footer. Button is in the footer where it says sign up for newsletter. Footer. Sign up for newsletter. Sign up for newsletter. There it is. Here. Okay, so we grab your button. We grab your button there and we go to our template, Django register template, and we paste our own here. So now it will be submit, it will be register. Register. Okay, and then we go back to the sign up and we refresh. And doesn't still really look good. You see, but at least it's better than what we had. Okay, at least it's better than what we had, but it doesn't really look good. But I think I've copied the wrong. I think I've copied the wrong button. But okay, that's that. All right, that is that for today's class. Any question? Any question? Okay, so we can do something. Let's say we can do something like diff here. We can say, since you are using Bootstrap, right? Our template is using Bootstrap, so we can use what we call class. This is basic Bootstrap container. All right, to make this thing centered container, and we cut this whole thing. We cut this whole thing. Okay, so we cut this whole form thing. Excuse me, I requested there. And we refresh, right? So that's centered the thing a little bit, right? So instead of spanning through the entire and it's responsive. See, it's responsive enough, right? So that's that. So if we shrink, it looks good. It still looks good, and that's that. Okay. So that is that for setting up users. Okay, and probably in our next lesson we'll see how we can log in and log out, and also work on our own templates, right? And our own template. Our template being which templates? These templates here, the register templates. These templates. This template, right? Now you look at this. Now they have first name and last name and password and confirm password. Okay, so in ours we shall change it to either username and email, and then password and confirm password. So ours will be username and email, right? We have to put that email as well. Any question? Question. All right, so I believe everyone understood. It was quite a simple and interesting class. Okay, so I'll drop those list of people that are having issues with. their promotional tax. Okay, so they can fix their problem and then get promoted real quick. Sorry for that. Sorry for that delay. Okay, and also expect the new tax. Okay. Okay, yes, about the GitHub. Yeah, okay. I think he said that. I think the person said that he has made correction. Let me check. The person said he has made correction to that. I think someone had issue with GitHub. Okay, he has made correction. Okay, fine. So there's no issue with GitHub. All right. So, all right. Good night. Or we'll see you in our next class. If you have any questions, go out and feel free to message me on Slack and I will to answer any question. Okay. All right. So good night and have a wonderful week and weekend ahead.